This is Mile High.
Do I want to tell the story or do I want to show the message?
You've got a lot of work to do between Mile High.
The time has come where we can know
we have a responsibility, an ethical and moral responsibility.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
If you get your mind right, it is not. It is a receiver of thought. His love is my first technique.
it's now time for the show.
Let's welcome to the stage Dr. Donny Epstein.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to start with a short video. And this video is who has seen The Greatest Showman? Raise your hands. If you haven't, you got to see it a few times. This video, Hugh Jackman was going to do the first rehearsal. And the rehearsal, in this rehearsal, the chorus, people would come from all around the country and the world to have the first rehearsal for the movie. And just before that, he had nose surgery and 80 some odd stitches in his nose. And the doctor told him, you cannot sing. So he speaks to his producer, or the director, the producer, who said, you can't tell anyone you're not going to sing or they won't show up. So it starts with this process, and what I'd like you to observe is the energy. The energy he had, the energy that affected the space between him and other people, and how that energy actually is what moves people. More than the song, more than the voice, it's the energy that we emit coherently. Because this is going to be the beginning of this presentation on the seasons of well-being, or sacred seasons, where people are at. People don't really care about the chiropractic. They don't care about what the listing is. You know, they care because they want to hear something from us. They care about, why am I here? Where am I at? Where can I be? And that there's a map for this. And somehow I'm target on the map, and I'm going someplace I want to go. And if I go someplace I don't like to be, that's okay, because there's a reason for it in the process. And that talks about the seasons. We'll be talking about this. Let's see this video of the rehearsal. And while watching it, see if you could see a particular critical point where there's a change in the energy, a change in interactions, because that's going to be the basis of what we're speaking about.
We had to get everyone into New York City to hear a read-through, where we read through the script and sing it. We needed the Fox executives, we needed Hugh, we needed the producers, and it took 8 months to get everyone in the room. And once we managed to get this date, Hugh calls me the day before and says
that I had just had a skin cancer cut out of my nose. All was fine.
I knew you were worried about that.
But I had 80 stitches in my nose, and my doctor said, you're not allowed to sing.
I said to Hugh, who have you told? Because you cannot tell anyone, because no one is flying to New York City to hear you not sing a musical.
Which is a good advice. So the next day, everyone arrives, I get there, and I explained to everyone why I wasn't singing. I also explained, this was Michael's suggestion, a good one, that I should stand, just to be clear to everyone that I will be singing on the day, and gesticulate, and of course act all the scenes.
And he did, to Hugh's credit, he did that for every single number. He stood up there, and he was the great showman until one number.
Look how much energy he has, how it's low. His mind is focusing all he can't do. He's trying to move away from the pain. Mind is focusing what he can't do to avoid pain. Imagine you showed up in the Mile High City in Colorado, and it's winter time, and you showed up with your snorkel and your flippers and bathing suit. Or it's summertime, you're snowing, you ski gear. This could be a problem. What if you tried to harvest in springtime and plant in the winter? It won't work. There's a season. Each season there's a certain amount of energy available for us. Now, you can have a hot day in winter or a cold day in spring or autumn or any time or summer. But the net amount of energy in that cycle is a certain amount. The challenge is when you're in winter, you expect summer. Or you expect winter. Or you expect to harvest at a time out of its cycle. To all things, it's time. I recognized this years ago. In 1992, I started writing the book, The 12 Stages of Healing. And I started writing that. There are 12 stages. I wanted to call it of rays of consciousness for all of humanity. Our doctors were being challenged at that time. We were stretching the envelope tremendously in the healthcare industry. That social, spiritual, emotional is part of the healing package. And a person must shift instead of just a condition. And that was a big stretch at that time. And our doctors were being challenged, especially as waves started moving through people and major publications talking about life changes and spiritual changes when someone worked with the spine to help the spine align with universal forces. So instead of calling it 12 rays of consciousness, which goes through different seasons of change, what you can expect in your consciousness in your life, I call the 12th stage of healing, so therefore the practitioner could utilize it and say, well, this is healing. Healing does not belong to the profession. Healing does not belong to any agency. Healing is your personal journey. We're just turning on the forces and healing happens. And people want to know about their journey. So I was talking to Tony Robbins about 15 years ago when I first started attending to him and became our buddies and working with them. And he said, 12 stages is too many stages. I said, but there's 12. He said, chunk it down, it's too many. Make it to 3 or 4. And Joel, you know what I'm going through. 3 or 4. So we have to make it there. So I finally got it into 3 seasons. So I took each of these stages, had certain elements. So what's the similarity of them? There has to be a similar quality. Bundle them. Then you can have different categories under that. So I said, good. So I finally was excited. I got all 12 into 3 seasons. So I said, Jackie, my wife Jackie, I got it. So what do you got? I got it. There are 3 seasons that all 12 stages come into, and all they do is talk about these 3 stages, and all the seasons are included. If they want to know more, they can find out more. They don't have to learn 12, they have to learn 3. She shakes her head and says, no, it's not 3 seasons. I said, it is 3 seasons. I got it. She says, nope. I said, okay, why? She says, well, and she goes over and takes a bag out of the closet, and it says, so what does this say? And the big fancy shopping bag said, 4 Seasons Hotel and Resort. She said, I see that. And she walks over to this thing that plays this thing called vinyl, takes a needle and puts this on, and puts it on. I know it's woo-woo. This is woo-woo squared. Frankie Valli, sing like a man. So she said, you see, it doesn't say Frankie Valli and the 3 seasons Epstein. There's only 3 seasons. I said, okay, smarty pants, tell me what the 4th is. She said, well, I'm your muse, you figure it out. So I realized there's a 4th season. That's where you choose that in winter, I'm gonna have a warm day. Or in autumn, we're going to have a real warm day, or in winter, in summer, we're going to have a cold day, because that's what works best at that time. You with me? But it's all about how much energy you have. And I wrote a paper that we'll get the link to you for, and that particular paper was on the seasons as a map, evolutionary map for healthcare practitioners. Transpersonal psychology is that field of psychology that studies the non-ordinary or spiritual experience. In many psychiatric cases, they say are cases of arrested spiritual development. The person did not have the neurology to be able to adapt to the consciousness being presented at the time. And they were looking to form a new field called transpersonal medicine, where they basically said all healing requires non-ordinary experiences, yet non-ordinary experiences are pathologized and treated. You got that? All symptoms and physiological changes, the system trying to make a shift. It's either upregulating or downregulating. It's trying to get to next level or lower. And when you treat them all the same, it's difficult. There's no evolution or growth. So they said, maybe you could put a paper here, take the etiology of your models of healing that you had, put it in here, and introduce us to the seasons of well-being and help a practitioner to know when a patient is in which season. And when they have this spiritual experience that's having difficult, rather than taking them further, help them realize, we have to realize what season you remember right now. You're probably out of your season. And for care, you're developing neurology so they can be in seasons where they need to be in life. So the Seasons of Wellbeing is a clinical educational map for healing. Now, in 1982, I coined the term practice member. That's where it came from me, practice member. And I realized that patients would sometimes come in for care, and the contract was, I pay you, you provide the care, you heal me, I've done my job. And less visits, I'll pay you more, I'm not responsible. And healing meant get rid of something so I could be restored to the way I was when the problem started, which is the whole problem in the first place. Yeah. And I realized that as I took care of people, something changed. They would say, hey, the question is not how you're feeling, it's how do you feel about how you're feeling. That's a greater indication of where they're at. My shoulder hurts. Well, that's great. And how do you feel about it? Oh, it's terrible. It's the worst thing. Something's wrong. My shoulder hurts. Well, my mother had this. The father had this. My shoulder hurts. Well, it's really good because I haven't used it this way and I'm finally expressing the emotional energy. My shoulder hurts. Yeah, but I'm doing great. You got the difference? There's a symptom, right? There's a concern. There's a symptom and there's the person. When they're ill, they're all the same thing. What is your concern? It hurts. People don't come for symptoms, they come for concern. The concern is always a loss of some quality of life. That's what it's about. The symptom, they give a meaning to it, and the meaning is where the pain and suffering comes from. And that happens at different points in life. So the question I started noticing, they changed the meaning on their body. They changed the meaning on, wow, I haven't had a pneumonia episode in 15 years. You took care of me, and I had it, but I worked through it in about 6 hours. The same symptoms. I am healing. Then they would come in and they expect to say, hey, listen, tell me more how I could help myself. And I realized a practice member was not coming in to be fixed. They wanted to collaborate with you where you were turning on the power and giving them the resourcefulness, that you giving the energy that resulted in their resourcefulness. Rather than looking for missing resource, they wanted to be more resourceful. And I realized there are 12 stages and seasons in developing resourcefulness and impacting others. The difference between illness and wellness is the same ness, the difference between I'llness or willness. There is no I in we. In order to have an intimate relationship, impact others, and make a bigger difference in life, you have to have enough energy to adapt for yourself and others. And between us is a space. The space is the cloud. That's where thoughts are. That's where emotions are. That's what you saw in the movie here. And that's what happens in the room here. The energy between us is real. Our nervous system will pick the thought or emotion consistent with how much energy we have, and the shape and position and tone of our spine plays out which emotional thought we pluck. It's not about our circumstance, it's the state of our spine, how much energy we use, which chooses the thoughts and chooses our emotion and chooses our reality. So we can help turn a person's reality around very, very simply by giving them the energy to reorganize, change the shape, position, and tone in the spine, and somehow their life reflects that and they impact others. How does that sound? But you have to be in season for that. Just like a question I've asked many people, hundreds of people over time, it's this question. And I've asked this. And I've asked this to people who've been cancering or have serious immune conditions. And serious is the problem. It should be significant. Once it's serious, you're screwed. Okay, this is it. What's more frightening to you? Being seen as angry, nasty, vindictive bitch or bastard, or dying? Okay, everyone I know who's been cancering said, well, I'm not sure. Well, no, I won't be seen as angry. Everyone's metastasizing. When I said to that person, well, you telling me you'd rather die than be seen as nasty? Yeah. If you're in that state and you try to meditate, find and love more people and find the greater meaning of it, I find you're going to die faster. Rage will help you. Love will help kill you. Why? It's out of its season. It's out of its season. Because the immune system reflects your emotional state. The immune system is your emotional system and how you adapt. And if you say, everything's okay, it's all love, you're going to die. This is the time to say, fuck you cells, you're killing me, I'm going to win. Then, later on, it's a whole different story. There's a time for everything. So, this is the way we go here. And there are 4 seasons: discover, transform, awaken, and integrate. The first season is the season of discover. In the season of discover, we actually have a lesson to learn. And that is, by looking to avoid pain, we have caused more pain for ourselves and others. We must experience the pain as it is, without a story, without trying to name it, without diagnosing it per se, without analyzing it, without analyzing it, without saying it shouldn't be here. Anyone here who've ever been in negotiation, raise your hands. If you're married, you're in negotiation also. If you're kids, you're double negotiations, okay? Can you ever impact anyone who you don't value? Then how can you impact illness, disease, or symptoms if you don't value it? It has a purpose. It has a reason. It means, well, I don't have enough energy for the organizing wisdom to keep me the way I are or to step it up. That's all. It means there's a power shortage. And that's our specialty. So, with this is where you run on the 2 levels. Innate intelligence, I found, is different levels of energy. All spiritual traditions talk about our bioenergy that helps you form your organs and give you survival. And then emotional helps you make changes. Different levels of mind that creates a thinker who's thinking, and different spiritual levels. They all speak about it. It's in a field around you, and they're all within you also, as layers. So the bioenergetic intelligence helps you to survive. Its entire job is to make you survive. Have enough metabolic energy so you organize from the dust and you're alive. If there's not enough, you break down, dis-ease, And then all the adaptive changes the way you try to stay alive at a lower level. It downsizes your experience. The whole purpose then is to downsize your experience. If you use this type of energy, intelligence, organizing aspect of intelligence, if you use it in a relationship, you won't have one. It'll break down because all you want is survival. In your business, you'll lose money. It's a type of organized intelligence that we have. It regulates the biointelligence, the connective tissue, the bones, the ligaments, the formation of the baby, the structures that come out of the baby. And there's also an emotional intelligence that helps you develop the energy of emotion, which helps you adapt to the environment. Laughing and crying is not what emotion is about. Motion is a biochemical change that happens when a neuropeptide lands on the surface of a cell and activates new proteins to change your behavior. Why? To adapt to the environment, to give you immunity against rapid changes happening. So it never has to get up to the cortex. You never have to realize it. You already have adjusted yourself and made change before the environmental change happens. That's what it's about. And that is part of the immune system. The long tendons of the body are regulated by that. The spinal muscle tendons, the immune system. The white blood cells are part of the immune system. So inflammation, it means the body processing emotion you cannot express. At least you get a cellular change, but you didn't do shit about it, so your body gets inflamed. Understand this? This is the season of Discover. And its whole purpose is to make you say, something's wrong, something's not right. You're going to find what's wrong, what's not working. This is not working, that's not working. This sucks, that sucks. I can't. And the big thing is to prove it's not my fault. That's it. That's it. Taking personal responsibility is like death. There is no constructive action here. Nothing constructive happens. All you do is bitch and complain or retreat or react to something. That's it. Because it's functioning before the mind develops. It's developing instinctive chemicals, the pheromones, the chemicals, and it's functioning then on the biochemistry of emotion. There's no thinking mind yet. It's below the radar of mind, and everything about the season of Discover is it doesn't work. Things don't work. I believe, and what most people have major immunological diseases like cancer, they don't have enough energy in the season of Discover. So instead of saying this sucks, I hate you, they say everything is love, it's okay, it's all fine. How you doing? Well, there's a reason for everything. There's a time for that after you discover that it sucks. You got that? Or you can't self-regulate, you can't make major changes. This is the season. In Discover, all the person wants to get you out of suffering, or take me out of suffering, or fix it. Get rid of it, I don't make it go away. That's all they want. It's important, if you tell a person everything's going to be okay, you lost rapport with them. So I had somebody, for example, came in the office one day when I was trying to check this out and see how it works with people. I found out this person came in tremendous pain. They won't come on their own. Someone else will probably bring them there. In this case, something's great and something's wonderful. They put you on a pedestal, you be a hero, you're the villain next. Because that's all there is. Right, wrong, good, bad. There's nothing there because they're not responsible. You give them a contract to sign, they'll look at it, they won't sign it. I couldn't find it, I lost it, the dog ate it, whatever it was. Or if they do sign it, I had to sign the contract. I had no choice. You had a choice there. But they didn't decide to sign it. They decided to find out what's wrong with it. You got this? So a waiter goes to serve a Jewish couple in a restaurant in New York. The waiter says, "Is anything all right?" How many Jewish mothers does it take to change a light bulb? None. That's okay, son. I'll just sit here and read in the dark. You got that energy? That's the energy of it, okay. You must acknowledge the person in massive pain, and first it's just like, that's pure suffering. Biointelligence, not even emotional intelligence. They're deer in the headlight, they're frozen. It hurts. Help me. So the worst thing you could say to that person is, I can help you. You're going to be okay. Okay? Why? Because you haven't been, you must acknowledge the energy they're at. So I walked in the room, I looked at the person, and by this time, the person who brought them left because they can't handle energy suck because it just sucks energy from everything. They couldn't stand it. They walked out. The person's suffering. And I said, oh my God, you look like shit. I don't know what you looked like before, but this is shit. And the person looks and says, really? Because I acknowledged where they were at in that season. You must acknowledge that it sucks. So then, I said, is your life insurance paid up? Why? Listen, I gotta tell you something right now. You're really messed up and you're really scaring me right now. You're really scaring me, because that's what they're expecting. You're really scaring me right now. I don't have patients die in my office. Like, I'm gonna take care of you, but you're gonna ruin my reputation. You're gonna live here through a visit, aren't you? Of course I'm gonna live. Now they're talking, okay? So I said, you gotta make my pain go away. You gotta make a pain. I said, I don't know if anybody can. I think you're too complex for that. I walk out of the room. Listen, I walk back in. The person says, what did you say? I said, I don't think when you die, you might still have the pain. I walked out again. But listen to me. Listen to me here. It's New York. Okay. New York, fuck you means I love you. I mean, that's it. Well, it can also, but that's not the point. Okay, here we go. So here we go. I walked back in the room, and she grabbed me with her shirt and said, Dr. Epstein, I heard you the best. I know you could help me. Now help me. Suddenly, by acknowledging the helpless state and being one with it and stating it, she got to the next level that I could get help, but it needs somebody else. So I said, I'll be your hero for a few visits. After that, you got to take over. She said, we got a deal. That's the season to discover. Just don't expect anybody to take responsibility that season. It's in that season. What it means is there's not enough bioenergy and not emotional energy. Most likely for you as practitioners, the spinal cord's being stretched, the meninges are being stretched, and there's not enough energy. The connective tissue is disconnected. You want to get more breath in the system. The person needs more stability at that point, not more instability. Okay. So this is what happens, season to discover. The whole lesson is to prove it's not my fault. That's it. That's it. Don't expect more in that season. And when you start taking care of somebody, if they drop into that season, don't have a conversation about them taking responsibility or signing on for a program with care. They're not going to do it. So you want to have as much energy there, acknowledging it while holding a space for something more. You don't have to voice it, but look at them and speak to the intelligence that organizes them and say, I see where you're at now, and I got plans for you, without saying it verbally. And that will bring a higher season integrated into it. Raise your hand if that makes sense. So someone breaks up and says, oh my God, it's the worst thing. Oh, it's terrible. My boyfriend left me, it's terrible. So is that the time to say, he was a shit anyway? Do you want to hear that? No. You want to, oh my God, your life is over. My life is over. Here it is. No, it's not. Got that? By acknowledging what is true, it sets you free. That's the first season. The next season is the season of transform. And this involves two levels of intelligence. The lower mental energetic intelligence organizes thoughts, and that part says right or wrong, good or bad, whatever we need to say to be able to fit into the culture of society. Because now that we emotionally respond, now we have to have a group think. Because in 80% of the world, if you don't fit in, you don't survive. All thoughts are survival strategies, and I'll tell you, there's not one thought you can think is ever true. Because every time something's true and great, there's not a thought involved. But it's messed up, there's plenty of thoughts. Okay. So this is what happens. The lower thinking mind is, what are the rules? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it right? How do I please people? How do I fit into the world? It's a low-level strategy that develops like from age 4 till about teenager. That's when it develops. You develop this illusion. It's me thinking. It's not you thinking. It's you repeating the program of how you're conditioned.
Good. Thank you.
At that stage, you now have the ability now to say, enough of this. Say, enough of this. Enough of this. Enough of this. Enough of this. Never again. Never again. I take my power back. I take that back now.
So someone's gonna raise you.
Now. I deserve more than fucking this. How does that feel? Now you use mental focus, you put into the other energies, now you can set a boundary. That's what happens. You set a boundary. There's pain behind you, pain inside, the sides of you. So you go, I'm not going there, you must move forward.
Okay,
you don't know where you're going, but you know it's no longer to accept this. I will tell you, so many times in your life, even that low level of energy, it's extraordinary that you said no when you meant to say no, or yes when you meant to say yes. Then you get to the upper mind, where you say, well, what's the meaning of this? Sometimes this rule works, sometimes this rule doesn't work. I was at an airport in Italy, it was in Frankfurt, and we have enough miles to get upgraded most of the place in the world. I think between Jack and I together, we have like 5 million miles just as United there. Seriously, it's significantly, yeah. So we were flying through Lufthansa, the partner, and United said, tell Lufthansa you want to upgrade. Call Lufthansa, wait till you get to the airport, bring your upgrade certificates. So we go, there's plenty of seats available, we're ready to get upgraded, go back to the States. And we said, well, you can't. So why? Because we don't have a meal for you. I said, that's okay, give me the economy meal. No, we can't, it's bad for our brand. I said, okay, just water me. The food's not that good anyway, okay? Besides, we carry a bag of emergency food anyway, okay? I said, no, we can't do that. We can't put you on the flight. I said, ma'am, I said, Fräulein Schmidt. And I want to develop rapport with her right here. I know you're doing a job keeping the rules going for Lufthansa. But greatness comes, this is the higher mind, greatness comes, thinking it out and putting the pieces together for what's the map of the world here. Greatness comes from knowing what rule to break when. And I feel like really proud of myself. So she pauses for a moment, and she looks at me and says, Dr. Epstein? That is true. And not this rule, and not with me, and not now. Okay. But in the season of transform, you claim that this is me here thinking. And I choose. Say, I choose. I choose. God bless you. I choose is important. Because there's a me here choosing and then bound to choosing yes or no, right or what else. The season of transform, you're moving, not moving away from, you're moving towards. And you're moving towards. Deliberately. Absolutely deliberately, you're moving towards something. There's a difference in that. Now, you want somebody to collaborate with you. Now the person wants to make steps. Now you tell them how they're going to make healing or transformation. Now they're ready to heal a healing plan. Now they're ready to work with you or do whatever it takes. Now they're willing to experience pain as long as there's 1% more gain than pain. You understand this? Now, in this case, they're going to transform their relationship with others, their body, the spine. And this is where they want to see how is it changing. Where's the map? If someone's in transform, you better have a map of care for them. In discover, it doesn't matter what you say because they don't think it's going to work anyway, but they hope. Transform, they want to have a plan of care, and you better have full certainty of it, of that plan of care, and know the outcomes, and before you touch them, know exactly what outcome you expect for them at this point. A problem only exists in the season of discover. So don't ask someone what's the problem. If you ever tear a kicking of a Jewish family, please never ask what's the problem. You'll never leave the office all night. It's this and my mother this and okay. So here we go. This is the way it goes. A problem, even the concept of a problem, only exists in discover. Only in discover. In transform, it's opportunity. The same circumstance, discover the energy level is like this. Transform, it's this. You feel a difference in that. Okay, you feel a difference in the energy between us, and the amount of free available energy between us, coherence, activates you to move into transform. Don't blame them. It's you. You're the one who carries the energy that they connect to, and you have the ability to make a change by your focus and you're knowing your objective and why. Always the why. The why keeps you in transform. Looking at your circumstance drops it. Life is not about your circumstance. In Discover, it's because of my circumstance, because of my past, because of my arthritis, because of that. No. Diseases don't make people sick. People get disease because they are sick. Therefore, treatment of diseases won't make them well. It may restore them, it may at times save them life, but being well is them being in charge of the choices they make in their life, and that's the season of transform. In transform, you're deliberate, you're focused, you know your outcome, you're going to achieve it. As you have so much energy, collaboration develops around you. You find solutions. The person who sees a problem will never see a solution. They're out of this season. The person who sees a solution or an opportunity never sees a problem. It's a different spine, a different projection, a different area, different energy that moves through the system. In Season Discover, you want to avoid all uncertainty. In Transform, you want to take the right risk. You want to take a risk because there's enough energy. And in Transform, you expect an adversary. You expect to be tested. And when it comes, I've been waiting for this. And choose an adversary, internal or external, that is worthy of you. I had somebody who was trying to be an adversary to me, and I said, sir, I know you're really annoying as an adversary. You want to bust my buttons and stuff like that and bring me down to the shit level that you're at. I understand that. But I deserve an adversary better than you. Because if I win, nothing changes. I want an adversary that when I win, others win too. We make a difference for the whole world. So you got problems here. You got it. But if we solve it, what is freaking different in your life? You just have more problems. Because you'll always have more. Say, there's always more. Now, there's either more of what you don't want or you want to move away from, or more of what you want. You choose, but there's always more. It'll always match your energy. The universe is abundant. Transform. It's deliberate. You're focused. Things moved in one direction, that's forward. You can feel the energy, you can smell it. You know what's happening there. You're ready. What you say is, bring it on. Say, bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. Stand up. I'm so ready. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. Now feel that. Feel the momentum. Have a seat. Most people's problems are that there's not choosing and there's no momentum. Make sure that momentum is going through the spine, and it's starting with you having momentum for a vision for a higher level for them. And you want to see your life, their life, the practice, the community, the world transforming. That's what Season Transform is about. In this case, you must be deliberate. You must be focused. You must know the outcome. And they want to know, how do we participate together as a practice member, no longer as a patient. You don't use words like, but I tried to call you. Bullshit, I called you. Or people leave a message on the phone, totally incongruous. You've reached Donny Epstein. No, I haven't. Or you advertise, hi, I'm not available to take your message. It's like getting up a public speaker and saying, I'm not a very good speaker. They'll know in 2 minutes. You don't have to say, I'm not available. You get that? But you're not. Take the word not out, and the best idea I have, do a butt-ectomy. Or however. This is great, but. The energy got high. I'm going to make these changes. I'm going to make these changes. But 5 years ago, you dropped down. You couldn't handle the energy, so you had to drop down to Discover again. Once you say what's not working, once you say however, you drop the energy. Why? Because I'm a 72-degree guy. You got to 78, put the air conditioner on. That shows up in your practice in your life. You got that? So now, we have the thinker that thinks, and we have the optimizer, which is, in that case, the optimizer wants to optimize. It should say upper mental intelligence, 2 of them. Next slide, please. Awaken. Awaken. So, in the first season, Discover, you want to prove I'm not a nobody, right?
Yes, that's true. Can't get away.
Correct? It's just to avoid feel like a nobody. It's easier to transform. I'm going to invent this persona that's not real, but it's made up shit, and I'll call it a somebody who wants, and I'm going to develop this, and I'm going to protect this. I'm going to use the same survival strategies I did if I was going to die if my identity is challenged, because I have to have some identity to know how to think, and therefore I become a somebody. And if I become a somebody, you can't say I'm a nobody. I'm a somebody. But you're never somebody enough. And you feel you're a nobody. Awaken, you joyously realize you are a nobody, but you're connected to everybody. Awaken, you're no longer attempting to create it. You're not trying to change things. You're not trying to transform. You're not even thinking. You're just experiencing and waking up to what's really going on. The thoughts have gotten so slow, you're in the space between them, and you wake up to the fact that everything is divine energy, perfectly blessed and perfectly energized, and not as a concept, as an experience. You go beyond all concepts, and you experience the fabric of grace and the blessing of the world. You go, it's crazy. You go into, I was in a Whole Foods, and I went by there, I walked by, and I hear the lettuce say, "Eat me." I walk by, I go like this. This is pretty interesting. I'm feeling the energy of the lettuce is part of me. I feel it digested. I feel sunrise. I see rainbows. It's really great. So, I want to have rapport with the lettuce. So I'm standing there, close my eyes. I not realize a woman's walking between me and the lettuce, and I say, "Yes, I really want to eat you."
Oh, shit.
I got slapped. I thought the lettuce slapped me. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, you don't." What did you say? I was talking to the lettuce. It's like when I was in practice. Listen, there's a true story here. I was in practice a few months out of school. I still had some of the medical education training in me. So I told the woman her chest pain with exertion. I said, "I think you should go to a medical doctor to examine. I think you have acute angina." She slapped me.
Good. Yeah, did you, I heard you charging double out here.
This season of awakening, the energy is so high, it not just creates collaboration, it wakes people up. This season of awakening, for a couple of minutes, somebody important, somebody who's discovered, who's transformed. Give you an example.
Yes, Joe.
A stillness happens. The mind slows because the mind doesn't have to defend you from the world. You experience it as it is. There's no longer a concept. You experience the space between us is filled with energy. It's organized and it's filled with love. You first feel that there's energy and you're being filled with light, filled with love. Then you realize, I'm a physical being, have a spiritual experience. Another point you may experience that I am spirit having a physical hallucination. And you're connected to everything and everyone. There's no more trying. There's no more doing. There's just serving, and not as a concept. And now, whether you're in a grocery store, you have your car fixed, or whatever it is, your presence blesses people. And all those people you've condemned at some point in life, you realize whatever you focus your attention on, you're cursing or blessing people every moment. You're passing everybody else by the amount of energy you bring to space between us. And at this point, you start blessing everyone. Why? Because that's what life is about. And you start realizing if it was a problem in Discover, in Transform, It was an opportunity or solution. And in Awaken, it's a gift. Everything's a gift. And this is not the thing to say when someone just had major tragedy, a person died, it's a gift. That's out of season. When someone dies close to you, the first year, you may look at, or on the first anniversary of their death, you may say, what was the gift of their life? And you may bring that in to discover where there's pain and light up those places that were dark with that. And somehow in that integrate season, you bring the light into the darkness and you accept it and it becomes something different. The second anniversary, or third, depending on where you're at, if you get to the season of Awaken then, you may say, what was the gift of this person leaving me now? It led me in a different direction. Instead of saying how you're messed up because you're raped or attacked or beaten or abandoned or whatever it is that, you realize these are the things that cracked me open and humbled me. And you accept to be humbled because you know you're not enough and the divine wants you to be bigger than you are. You bring that and transform, and then you take action with that. Staying awakened by itself will never change the world. Because if everything's perfect, you don't want to change anything. But being inspired by that is different. I'm mentioning this because I have found people show up in all those seasons, all the seasons, every one of them in care. I found every one of them in care. And I find that when you're in the season, that the spine is different. The spine is different in Discover, where it's more locked. In Transform, it's making change. In Awaken, the chest comes up there. I like to see it the person's perception of the world, the structure of the body, and the actions in their spine and life are congruent. These are the seasons of well-being. Keep going, next. We want to integrate them. Next. The seasons of well-being is the evolutionary map for transpersonal medicine, California Institute of Integral Studies. And this is what it says. This is the abstract of it. The 4 seasons of well-being, Discover, Transform, Awaken, Integrate, refer to distinct rhythms, periods, and factors that influence the accessibility of an individual's resources during their journey of life. Our genealogist seasons described emphasize the empirical and theoretical foundations of reorganizational healing, which is the technical term. For lay people, it's epi-healing, going beyond ordinary healing. And its roots and models such as Graf's systems of condensed experiences and Wilber's integral theory and pre-trance fallacy. As a practical tool, the seasons have pertinence in the development of transpersonal vigilance, a term described in this article. The seasons offer resources to practitioners to support clients towards transpersonal being in a reorganizationally informed or reorganizational way. In this article, it tells you every one of the stages, the emotions, what a patient may say, what it may mean, and how you could best interact with it. It's really cool because ultimately, this is the communication and connection that makes the bigger difference. And what is transpersonal vigilance? Those people who whether it be in utero or early in life, had events where the mother or father or coach couldn't protect them. It may have been a rape, an attack, it may have been an ill parent, alcoholic parent, something of that nature. To protect themselves, they had to draw on qualities of Awaken while they're in Discover in life. They had to draw on qualities of the spirit in life. But they used that to know, is it safe to be in the room? Can I listen to this person? I knew stories. They did this. And that helped them get through. It was a survival strategy. Awaken is not meant to be a survival strategy. It's not about certainty of answers. It's about being in the uncertain and knowing it's all blessed. So for those people, they go through life with early wounds, and those wounds are meant to be big gifts. Why? Because the organizer of everything figures if you can be humbled at birth or early time in life and have to use this higher organizing wisdom, there's a greater chance before you die that you'll make a bigger difference in the world. But not if you think that because you were wounded, it's because you were freaking cracked open. And Awaken, you realize that, and you feel the pain and Discover, and you light it up and transform. You take action so other people don't have to have that type of wounding in the future. That's what it's about. You received my article on Seasons of Wellbeing, an evolutionary map for transpersonal medicine. On US mobiles, text seasons to 72000. International, Donny to +1 323 457 2288. Take a picture of this. Make sure you see this. This article will help you with people more than you could possibly imagine because you're not dealing with spines. You're not dealing with nervousness, you're dealing with human beings on their journey from suffering to full community and back and forth in all different directions. And it's really, really, really an extraordinary journey when a person knows the map of the journey and can bless wherever they are. And you can expect the type of answer response, and you lose linguistics that supports that person. They are seeing, you communicate. This is so essential, and this actually creates an enhancement of all the care you give. Thank you.
Nice. Well done. Stand up.